Everybody, Erin from Broadway Media here, one of your production managers. We are going to go over everything there is to go over in StagePlayer today. First, we are going to go into present mode in our main library. So we're going to go over to the show in question. Today we're going to be using Finding Nemo Jr. as our demo show, and we're going to come over here and hit the present button. Now when we do that, both of our windows here change into present mode. The first is our control window, that's everything here with all of our buttons, and the second is our output window. When you're connected to a projector, this is what's going to be dragged over to the projector and made full screen. So this right now is representing our stage. Right now it's all black because nothing is playing just yet. Back to our control screen. The first thing to keep in mind is we have two boxes here. The first is the active box, which is color-coded green, and the next is the next box, which is color-coded yellow. We'll come back to those color codings in a second. We're going to go ahead and hit the green button to start our show, and that is going to go into the curtain warmer. So now in our active box, we can see exactly what is active, what is currently playing, and that is matching what's happening on our output window. These two are always going to match, so that way your operator can always see what is happening on stage. Right below the active box, we have this progress bar, if you will. Each cue is made up of two videos. The first is an action video. This is something like a transition, a magical moment, something you would only want to happen once. So an example would be the Let It Go sequence in Frozen Jr. An action moment would be Elsa building her ice castle. During Let It Go, we obviously don't want her to be building the ice castle over and over and over again, so the process of building is the action video. And then once the action video is done, it'll automatically go into a loop. That loop is usually 5 to 10 seconds long and is designed to repeat itself over and over and over again. So the loop on our curtain warmer here is 5 seconds. And this will keep going. I can walk away, go get a snack, come back, and this is still going to be playing. This is a real benefit, especially those of you working with younger actors, because if they get nervous and speed up, or if they get maybe a little bit of stage fright and slow down or miss a cue, you are able to adjust in real time. Now, when we are ready to go to our next cue, we have two options. The first is the next option, and then we have jump to next in orange. Both are ways to get you to the next cue, although in slightly different ways. So I'm going to get to our next cue here. We're going to get past this blackout. All right. So we're in our action video right now of transitioning to the Sea Anemone home, and when this 10 seconds is up, we're going into our 5-second loop. All right. So we are now in Act 1, Scene 1, the very beginning of the show. When we are ready to go to the next cue, which is this color change, if you hit the next button, that is telling StagePlayer to go to the next cue at the end of the current loop. So if I hit it when we're only 1 second in, you're going to get a little countdown so you know that StagePlayer is listening, and now it's transitioning at the end of that countdown. If you don't have time to wait for that full 5 seconds, or maybe you want to transition a little bit earlier, instead you can hit the jump to next button. That still moves you to the next cue, although it'll do so immediately, not waiting until the end of the current loop. So if I click it right now, on to the next cue. Both are viable ways to move you forward. Use whichever one you are more comfortable with. The last button here is the red Blackout Now button. If at any point you want to add a blackout into the show, all you have to do is hit this and it will transition into a blackout within 2 seconds. To get out of the blackout, it does leave you exactly where you left off. To get out of it, hit either the next or the jump to next button, and you go right into the next cue, right where you left off. So these are some of your options to go to the next cue. Down here, you may notice we have our cue sheet. So this has everything listed, all the information your operator needs to correctly call the show. The cue sheet has every single cue listed in the whole show, and it's color-coded. So if we go back up, the cue that is active, that is currently playing, is color-coded in green, and the one that is up next is color-coded in yellow. If your operator happens to be colorblind, you can go ahead and use these labels here as well. Now, say you're looking ahead and you need to go ahead and get to the next cue. You don't have to worry about trying to scramble back up and finding where you left off. Just go to your next cue and the cue sheet will snap back to where you were. The cue sheet is labeled with 6 different data points. First we have the act number, then the scene number, the cue number, the description, the page number, and then the cue line in your script. So that should be all the information you need to make sure that everything runs smoothly. Up here, we've got a couple more buttons. The first is the full screen button. This is the button you are going to use once you are connected to your projector. And what that does, we're going to move this out of the way for a second because this is entirely about our output screen. So let's say this is representing our stage. At the moment, our audience can see our projection here, but it's not full screen. They can see my background, they can see my toolbar. Should I get any sort of notification in the middle of the show, they're going to be able to see that. So it's good, but it's not great. I can manually stretch it, so that's a little bit better. They can't see my background now, but it's not truly full screen. They can still see my toolbar. You can see some black bars on the side. So it's better, but it's not great. Now, to go truly full screen, you do need to press this full screen button. What that does is it does have it go truly full screen. So we've got no black bars on the side now, no toolbar. Any notifications I may get will pop up behind this. So you have the only way to go truly full screen is by hitting that button. If you hit it again, it will go back to its smaller space. So that is how you go in and out of full screen. Should you have an emergency in the middle of the show, or maybe you're doing a junior show and you want to add an intermission, any reason at all for pulling up the curtain warmer, you can pull up the curtain warmer at any time by hitting this curtain warmer button. When you click it, it will go ahead and fade into the curtain warmer while still saving your space in the cue sheet. So let's go ahead and to get out of that, we'll jump to next, and we're right where we left off. Should you want to pause the animation at any point, you can go ahead and hit pause, and then hit it again to resume. So that is always there for you if you want maybe a still instead of an animated sequence, or whatever you need. Maybe you just slow down a transition. You can hit that pause button. Last couple of features here. This cue sheet is fully clickable and interactive. So let's say we want to jump ahead in the show, maybe to the EAC here. When you click on a cue in question, it will bring up this box. If you hit it accidentally, go ahead and hit close. It will not go to that cue, and the audience will have no idea you almost moved forward a couple of scenes. But instead, we do want to move forward, so we're going to click on it. And you have a thumbnail of the cue in question, so you know which cue we're talking about. You can hit cue next to put it in the up next spot. So we now have it in the up next spot. It's highlighted yellow. And when we want to transition, just transition next or jump to next as normal. And it'll jump ahead to our EAC. Or maybe we want to go to the jellyfish sequence now. You can click on the cue and hit jump to, and that will play it and transition to it immediately. So those are your kind of a couple of options to move around within the show. It's really handy for rehearsals when you're not necessarily rehearsing in order. Now, when we are ready to end the show, The kids did a great job. You can hit the End Show button up here on the right. It's going to bring up this box. If you accidentally hit it in the middle of the show, just like when we're jumping around, hit cancel, no one will have any idea. But in this instance, we do want to hit End the Show and End the Show, and that will bring us back to our main library. Now that we've mastered present mode, we're going to go into the settings and go over the different editing features so you can really make the show your own. So we're going to hit settings. And the first options over here on the right, first is blackout settings. So these are what I like to call the all or nothing blackout settings. If you want to black out at the end of each act, just check the box. At the end of each scene, maybe you want to move some set pieces in and out, just check the box. You can black out after the curtain warmer. You can turn them all on, you can turn them all off. Only use the manual button if you want, whatever you like. And then up next is the curtain warmer. First is when you want the curtain warmer to be played. So first is the pre-show and the end of each act. So because we're working on a junior show, that is the beginning and the end. So if you only want it at the beginning of the show, go ahead and unclick end of each act. And now it's only at the beginning. Or you can do the opposite or have no curtain warmer at all, whichever you prefer. Up next is what the curtain warmer will be playing. So first we have the show master. Unless you come in here and change it, this is what the show is automatically going to be set to. It's the beautiful official Finding Nemo Junior logo provided by MTI in this case. If you prefer, we do have the app master, which is kind of the more generic gold bouncing balls. That is always an option for you. Or you can upload something custom. So you can go in here, you can put anything you can think of. So if you have a student who's an artist who designed an original logo for you, you can upload that here. We've had groups use their school logo or their company logo. We've had groups put their season schedule up here. They've sold ad space on their curtain warmer. Whatever you can come up with, feel free to upload it there. And you can always come back and change your mind and reset. So those are your first couple of edit features. Now we're going to go into the actual show. We're going to do that by hitting Edit Cues here on the left under the show logo. Now when we go into the Edit Cues, the first thing you're going to know is that our cue sheet is listed here, but it looks a little bit different. So it's bigger, but it's still sorted by act, by scene, by cues within that scene, and then we still got the cue numbers, description, page number, and cue line. So it looks a little bit different, but it has all of the same information as in present mode. And every cue is still listed here, just like in present mode. We do have a little mini player here in present mode, so when you're making your changes, you can see what they're looking like in real time. And this works just like in present mode. So we're going to go ahead and hit the show to get started. When you're ready to move to the next show, the next cue, jump to next as you're ready, and you can see what those changes look like in real time when you're ready. Now, when you want to make changes to the show, you're going to bring your mouse over, and when you hover over any cue, this box with 3 dots on it, this button, is going to pop up. When you click on that button, it's going to bring up a menu of everything you can do to this show, to this cue. So we're going to do all of them in order, and we'll see what they look like. So first is the cue next jump to, and this is all about the mini player, so you can jump around in the show. So when you click on that button, it brings up a box exactly like in present mode. Hit jump to play it immediately, cue next to put it in the up next spot, and it will play that cue. So nothing different there, exactly like in present mode. There it goes again. We're going to go back over, hover 3 dots. Up next is disable. Although a cue is provided for every single scene and setting in the show, you are not required to use every scene and setting. Maybe you have some physical set pieces you prefer to use. For whatever reason you want, if you don't want to use a cue, you can come in here, hover over it, and hit disable. Now when you hit disable, You'll notice that the cue is now black. It changed in color, and our button with the 3 dots turned into like a symbol with an I with a slash through it. That is how you know it's been removed from your cue sheet. When you go into present mode, it's entirely removed. It's not there, and you will skip over that cue. It's been entirely disabled. Now, notice I said disabled, not deleted. You can always come back and change your mind. If you want to put the cue back, just come back in, highlight over, hover over the cue in question, hit the button, and the first option is now enable. When you click on that, now the cue is no longer highlighted in black. Our I with the slash through it is gone, and we're right back where we were. So you can disable and re-enable things as many times as you need. Now let's say we really like this cue and we want more of it. We go over to 3 dots, and the next option is duplicate. When you hit that button, it will duplicate the cue in question, so now we have 2 of them. If you want that cue to be in a different spot, now we're going to move things around. So we're going to move this cue, and when you want to move it within the same scene, all you have to do is click and drag. And so now we have the duplicate cue at the end, so it's exactly, the scene will start and end the same way. If you want to move it to a different scene, maybe we want to move it to scene 2 here, you can't click and drag within scenes. However, if we go back to our handy 3 dots, the next option on our menu here is move. When you click on that, it's going to bring up a little menu for you to fill out. So maybe we want to move it to the end of scene 2. So we want it to be after Act 1, scene 2, and then a list of all of the cues within scene 2. So we'll do in Boardwalk, because we want it to be at the end. When you're done filling that out, hit move. And now here is our cue at the end of scene 2. And once it's in scene 2, you can click and drag within scene 2. So that's how you can move things around, really make it your own. Last but not least here, we've moved this cue, so now some of this information in the cue sheet is no longer correct. So we want to go ahead and make some edits. And you are able to edit the cue description, the page number, and the cue line. So we're going to go back to our 3 dots, and the next 3 options is edit description, edit page number, and edit line. These 3 all work the same way. You just click on the one you want. It'll bring up a box, and you can put in whatever you want. So it's not on page 1 anymore. Now it's on page 24. Hit edit, and now it is on page 24. You can use this feature to, if anything doesn't make sense to you or you want to adjust the cues in any way, you can go ahead and do that. You can have notes to yourself. Anything you want, that is how you can go ahead and make those edits. The cue act number, scene number, and cue number, those will automatically be changed based on where you've moved the cue to. So because this cue has been moved to Act 1, Scene 2, now cue number 18, that information will be automatically changed for you. When you go back into present mode, you don't have to do anything. Now, these couple buttons up here on the upper right-hand corner. So first is cancel. If you change your mind and you don't want to save any of these, you can hit cancel. It'll ask you if you're sure. And if you say yes, it'll reset to the way it was before you started editing. Assuming you do want to save your changes, come up here and hit save, or save and exit. When you hit save, it does exactly that. It hits save. Save and exit will save it and also return you to the main library. So you have those options for saving. Next up here is the export cue sheet. This is a brand new feature that's going to be really helpful to anyone else on your crew. So your stage manager, your lighting team, your sound team, anyone who it may be really helpful for them to have a copy of this cue sheet so they know what's happening in the projections during the show. You can hit export cue sheet, and it's going to bring this up. You can save it as anything you like, anywhere you like. I'll go ahead and hit save, and then it'll bring it up, save it to your computer. When you open it up, it will open in your Excel or Excel-like application, and you can now print this out. You can pass a physical copy to whoever on your team may need it. You can do a digital copy. It's also a living document, so we've had groups start with this and then physically type in all of their sound cues and lighting cues to make one master cue list. That's always an option for you as well. So great little feature there. All right, so that is all of the editing features. I'm going to go ahead and hit save and exit to go back to our main library. All right, and we've got a couple last features over here on the left side. So first was the library. This is our main library. We already talked about that. Up next is tools. So these are things that can help you at any point. You don't need an active show in your library to access them. First up is the test patterns. This can come in handy when you are setting up your projector. So first is the grid. This can help you make sure your projector is centered and is straight, that's not mounted at an angle. Up next is colors. This can help you make sure everything is in working order, that you haven't blown any pigments on your projector, and that everything's in working order. And then the same with grayscale, so you can test all the shading. So that can be in handy. Up next is the curtain warmer. Just like before, now we've got our gold bouncing balls, but you can go ahead and upload something custom again if you like. Vignettes and masks. So this will be handy if you are a group maybe with like a rounded proscenium or a unique stage setup. You can add a mask to your projection that kind of softens the edges and makes it fit in your space a little bit better. So we have all of these pre-planned masks for you, or you can go ahead and create a custom one. And then last in this menu is the watermark. If you want to add a watermark to your projections at any time, you can do so here. All right, up next is settings. This can come in handy if you ever need any assistance. So first is the help center. If you ever need to submit a help ticket, you can do so right here. It'll bring up, assuming you are connected to the internet, it'll bring up a ticket that emails us directly at Broadway Media, and we'll be in touch soon to give you some help. Account, if you need to reset your password, you can do that here. This does tell you which version of StagePlayer you're running. The most current version as I'm recording this is 1.2.6, but you can always hit this button to check for an update. Up next, enable sound. So the majority of our projections do not have sound effects, but there are a few that do. So if you are working with a projection that has sound, make sure you come in here and click enable sound on. Otherwise, you won't be able to hear it. Up next is display mode. So in display mode, most of you, if you are using a single projector, you are going to leave it on constrain. Constrain is designed for one projector using a 16:9 aspect ratio output. So the vast majority of our customers use constrain, so don't touch it if that describes what you are going for. If you are using two projectors to make a really wide but not so tall image, you're going to need to decide between stretch to fit and scale to fit. Stretch to fit is going to take that projection and it's going to stretch it across both projectors, giving you that really wide but not so tall image. So it completely fits in what you are projecting in that area. However, this can distort the image as it's going to take it outside of its 16:9 aspect ratio. So another option we have here is the scale to fit. Scale to fit is going to zoom in on the image, so it's in the 16:9 aspect ratio, but doing that does cut off the top and the bottom of the image. So if you are using two projectors, you'll have the option to choose between stretch to fit and scale to fit. And you can always come back in here and go between the two to try them both out and see which one you like better. Up next is light mode. If you have a computer that meets all of the minimum system requirements, you're going to want to make sure that light mode is checked off. However, if you do have only have access to a computer that doesn't meet those system requirements, light mode is an option that will still allow you to use the projection in some capacity. Someone on our team, if you need some help, may instruct you to check on light mode, so you do that in the settings menu here. Up next is enable debug mode. Please don't click on this unless instructed by a Broadway Media team member. This will allow us to figure out if there's anything glitching in the software on your personal computer. And then last but not least, enable experimental features. As of right now, we recommend that you not click this box. However, if you do want to check out some experimental features, you can go ahead and click it and check out what is to come. Up next on this menu on the left is the Help Center. If at any point you need some help, go ahead and click it. And it will bring up the general articles, help articles, to help you out. Maybe someone else has already asked what you are looking for. So that is an option there. And then last but not least is performance. If your computer is having trouble, someone on the Broadway Media team may instruct you to come over here to performance. Now, this is going to tell you a little bit about your specific computer. So first up is CPU performance. This is going to tell you that you may want to restart your computer in a little bit more. So like I haven't restarted my computer longer than a day, so it's going to recommend that I do that. Up next is GPU performance. This is something that is PC specific. So if you are on a Mac, like I am, it's going to tell you that it can't be detected. That's not a bad thing, it just means you're on a Mac. But if you are on a PC, and this is not at all 3 bars, you may want to look into using a different computer. And then up next is RAM performance. This is going to show you how much memory you currently have, and something that could possibly affect your projections. That is all about your computer. All right, last but not least, we're going to go back to the library. If you need to refresh your library at any point, you can go up here and click this refresh button. And over here in the bottom left corner, you can always submit feedback. We love your feedback. And this button is the log out button. And that goes over every single button in StagePlayer. If you guys have any other questions, feel free to reach out to us and break a leg. Thanks.